Assalamu alaikum everyone and good morning. First of all, thank you Marisa for the question, and thank you Daud Saab for the opening remarks. It's a great honor to be here as part of this esteemed panel, and I'd like to thank Dawn Media for taking this initiative and spearheading this important conversation, which I think is long due. Now, coming back to the question about the general perception of electric vehicles and the impact on the environment, I'll take a step forward and I'll extrapolate and I'll speak about new energy vehicles, which includes battery electric vehicles and plug-in hybrid electric vehicles. And when we talk about impact on emissions, when we specifically look at electric vehicles, there's a reduction of 70 to 80% as in comparison to the traditional internal combustion engine vehicles. And when we talk about plug-in hybrid vehicles, there is a reduction of about 60% from the traditional ICE vehicles. So that is generally the impact that we're looking at, and this includes already the mixed fuel electricity generation, which also has fossil fuels in the mix. Now, talking about overall impact and BYD. So BYD, as the largest NEV manufacturer, has a long-term commitment towards the environment, and as part of that commitment they have a program called cooling the earth by 1 degrees, and up till now, I think the latest numbers from January, if I were to quote, there has been a carbon reduction of about 80 million tons from the switch over to NEVs produced by BYD, and that is equivalent to about 1.3 billion trees absorbing the carbon from the environment. Taking a step forward, I think there was a question about do the consumers ask about these metrics? Certainly they do. There is a learning curve when we talk about generally environmental impact and the transportation sector, but and that awareness is being sort of done and implemented throughout the country. But there's also an economic case that the consumers definitely understand. And if I were to run some basic math, so for instance, if you talk about an electric vehicle that has about 50 kilowatt hour battery size, which gives you about 400 kilometers in range, and if you were to charge that at your home, 50 units, 50 rupees per unit, so essentially you're spending about 2,500 rupees for a full charge and getting 400 kilometers. When you compare that to an ICE engine, let's say the mileage is 10 kilometers per liter. At the current rate, you're looking at 25 rupees per kilometer that your cost is. And if you look at the math for using an electric vehicle, that comes down to 6.5 rupees. So that's the difference. That's the economic case that we're talking about for general consumers, that prods them in that direction, along with the awareness of the impact on the environment. And that's why we are seeing an uptake in terms of the general adoption of electric vehicles and new energy vehicles in Pakistan. It is a nascent market, of course, but due to these benefits that companies like BYD can offer to the consumers, they can make an informed decision. There was another question about sustainability of the market, and this is where I would like to talk about the overall ecosystem and our commitment to that. So Mega Motor Company, as the local partner for BYD, and through its subsidiary, is also setting up charging infrastructure all across Pakistan. And I think that's absolutely critical when we talk about NEV adoption in a country like Pakistan, because you need that supporting infrastructure. And that's our commitment as a company to support the adoption of NEVs in Pakistan. And let me also talk about a pertinent point, the support that is coming from the government and the continuous support that we would require from the government. There was charging infrastructure and the new policy that has been introduced, which will reduce, for instance, application processing time to 15 days, the application fees to less than 50,000 rupees. So all of these things are going to help us collectively in terms of the overall adoption of NEVs as a new technology in Pakistan. So we certainly are very helpful, and we are very committed as a company and as individuals as well as professionals to prod us as a country towards better technology, and NEVs is certainly a rightful solution for sustainable transport in Pakistan.